Now there's another way to overwinter Colocasia, and that is dry but kept warm so it doesn't go dormant. So what I'm going to do is dig up this Colocasia here and show you what to do with it to keep it going over winter without going into complete dormancy but being dried off. Right, let's dig this Colocasia up and take it somewhere to prepare it. So the next stage is to remove all the compost from around the plant and the old leaf stems here as well. Just clean this up, wash off the rest of the mud. So now I've washed off all the compost from around the rhizome and the roots, and you can see the rhizome down here below the roots. It's about 4 or 5 inches from top to bottom and about 2–2.5 inches wide at the top down to about 1.5 inches at the bottom. An eagle-eyed amongst you will see that it's quite pink at the bottom with pink and white roots. This is labelled as Jack's Giant, but unless there's 2 types of Jack's Giant, this is probably something else. So I've kept the leaves on. I will let the leaves shrivel away, drawing some moisture out of the rhizome. This will mimic the plant's natural dry period where it goes dormant. And what I'll do then is keep this dry and warm about 16–20 degrees, so this will be kept inside the house, on top of a kitchen cupboard. A week has passed since I dug up the Colocasia and it's really dried out now. You can see the leaves have shriveled up, the roots have gone brittle and dry. So the next stage is just to cut off the old leaves, cut this back, so cut off the top of the leaves. You can see in there the unfurling new leaves in the middle of the main stem. So all I'm going to do with this, wrap it in this piece of newspaper and keep it somewhere very dry and quite warm so it doesn't go completely dormant until the end of winter when I'll start it into growth again. So now I've just removed all the old roots from around the rhizome. Just going to dip the end in a bit of sulphur powder where it's quite wet, stop rot setting, and then I'll keep an eye on it through winter, and if it starts rotting back a bit I'll just cut it off, and hopefully it won't get this far down, because that's what we're trying to keep. We're trying to keep this main stem so that it grows very quickly in spring, rather than cutting it off here, storing this dry and just frost free. We're trying to keep it in a semi-dormant state, so it's very dry but it will keep going. Right, so I have this dried out Colocasia in the airing cupboard for 2 or 3 weeks, and as you can see it's completely finished off drying out, but I think it's too warm in there because it is starting to grow. So I'm going to put it somewhere a little cooler on top of a cupboard in the bedroom, and hopefully it'll stop growing and stop drying out, because I think it's dried out enough now. Okay, so it's been exactly 5 months since this Colocasia was dug out of the ground back in earliest October. It's been stored dry but warm, and what that's meant is that the growing point here is still got a bit of life in the base of it, so that has not had to be removed or died back. There are further down other growth points ready to form new shoots. It still feels quite hard, quite dry, so hopefully this will start back into life very quickly. Hopefully a shoot will appear from this main stem and the plant will grow to a big size pretty quickly, and this may prove to be a better way of storing larger rhizomes of Colocasia rather than trying to keep them going over winter with all the hassle that entails. So I'm going to soak this in warm water for a day or two now, and then treat as my method for starting dry rhizomes, which means flushing out with some hydrogen peroxide concentrated water, and then putting in a plastic bag, putting in the airing cupboard for a week or two, and then potting up and put it in a propagator. So after just 36 hours, been soaked in warmish water and placed in the airing cupboard, the main shoot has started to grow, and another shoot has formed at the base and started to grow as well. So this will be put in a plastic bag now for a week or so, wait for some roots to start growing, and then pot it up and put in a heated propagator, and hopefully that will grow into a big plant very quickly. And now, just a few weeks later, you can see it's formed a good sturdy plant with large leaves already from the main stem, and some other pups are growing as well, which again forming decent sized little plants with good roots coming out the bottom. This pot is full, and in a few weeks' time it'll be planted out into the open ground. So that's been pretty successful overall, overwintering dry and warm, and then starting off later on in the year and still making a decent sized plant for planting out in June.